What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the After Credit Scene. We're talking all things Captain America Brave New World. Been a little bit since we've been back with you guys, and this video is going to get to you about a week late. But I hope you stick around for some spoiler-free reviews and a conversation about where the MCU is headed from here on. As always, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so when we drop new content, you'll be the first one to know about it, and then share this thing all across the multiverse. First things first, a spoiler-free review about Brave New World. There were a whole lot of things I really loved about this movie. Short answer for me, it's a solid entry into the Captain America franchise. If I had to put it on par with any of the other movies, it has a lot of Winter Soldier vibes to it. It has that kind of aesthetic. But it also introduces some stranger elements to it that feel more like First Avenger. I feel like Civil War is, with a lot of its cameos and a lot of the things that happen in it, it kind of stands alone as maybe like a half Avengers type film. Introduces a few new characters, does some things on its own that it needed to do, even though it kind of keeps with that political undertones of the Captain America franchise. I think it's probably on par if we can pull the nostalgia away from it and the Steve Rogers-ness away from it in terms of pacing, in terms of solid story, in terms of fun fights, and some resolution to it. I thought it held its own against something like First Avenger, against the first Captain America movie. It's nowhere near Winter Soldier. And Civil War has its own storyline and things that make it hard to compare it to. But I think it holds its own against First Avenger. There's some pros and cons on both sides of that I think would make it a worthy contender. But it definitely holds its own as a Captain America movie. It keeps that kind of style and feel. Pulls a lot of really good things from some Disney Plus shows like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as some stuff from some older MCU entries. And I think they did that really well. They shoehorned the cameos in pretty well. They didn't feel forced. It felt like the characters came in when they needed to. And I didn't feel like they did a whole lot of exposition at the beginning of the movie to explain all these things that maybe you didn't know. It felt a lot more organic in that regard. In terms of family friendly, other than some of the violence that might be scary for some younger kids, the language was really toned down. I think when they did use it, it was used for humorous effect, and there wasn't a lot of extra in there. The topics and following some of the whodunit type elements of it, the political portions of it would be a little difficult for someone that wasn't a teenager. But in terms of great scenes, fight scenes, cool imagery, it's a fun film. It doesn't last too crazy long. I think start to finish credits and everything, it's just under 2 hours, so you're probably looking at about a 1:45 movie time. And it was just a fun watch. I try my best to go into these Marvel movies with, this is just a standalone movie. Is it fun? Is it interesting? Is it exciting? I'm not looking for Oscar-worthy material because it's a comic book movie. And I think in terms of entertainment purposes, back in the day when I was a kid, even when I watch them now, I'm not looking to movies like Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, Aliens to be Oscar-worthy movies. Now, when we get something like that and we get some amazing acting, it's worth the tip of the hat, and it's something that's really exciting. But I don't go into them thinking that. I just look for something that's entertaining. I look for something that I can go in and just enjoy. From a larger MCU standpoint, it really carries on the story. It kind of feels more akin to some older MCU stuff in that it is following a character. It's ushering in some new things. It's pointing us towards some other elements, and it's really building the universe out a little bit without being super heavy-handed about it. Like I said, the cameos are shoehorned in really well in places that they feel like they fit. And I thought being able to follow these different characters, introducing some new characters, but not throwing so many new characters in your face that it was overwhelming. I think some movies can throw too many villains in there and it feels overwhelming. In terms of the fight scenes, in terms of things that go on with the different characters, we're gonna have to leave that for the spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the film yet, put a pin in this, come back and watch it later. Spoiler review, you've been warned. In terms of where the movie goes and what it does, and we'll start with the fight scenes. I thought they did a really excellent job of making their point that Sam Wilson is a different character. He does not have the super soldier serum. And how does he overcome that? They went to great lengths to show his fighting style is different, how far he's come from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the mantle that he holds, the connection he has with the military, not from a political standpoint, but just people he knows and people he respects, taking all the different things that are Sam Wilson and him fighting for a cause that he believes in a way that makes sense to him. I think from that standpoint, you could take that statement and put it up against Steve Rogers, and they kind of hold weight together. There were several times where they put a lot of emphasis on Sam's suit to show that is how he can withstand some of these things, and I think that's perfectly fine, given that Iron Man is the exact same thing. Now, Sam Wilson is no Tony Stark, but they don't make him out to be. They use his connections with Wakanda and other things and his fighting ability to show that he is capable of doing the things that he's doing, and they don't try to make him do too much. In that regard, we're going to jump ahead to the end of the movie with some critiques that I've heard. In terms of fight scenes, I was really okay with the way the Red Hulk fight scene ended up. I think people getting frustrated about, oh, he beat him with his words. Steve Rogers tries to do that. I think Sam, as a character, really tries to do that. He does not want to fight you. It's a last resort. It's not, we're going to come in guns blazing and ask questions later. Even with a Hulk character, Marvel makes Bruce Banner seem like he's off the hinges and he can't control the Hulk, and so you have to kind of fight him into submission. They do a decent job early on of showing how Thunderbolt Ross doesn't really realize this is inside of him, and he's fighting it. He's fighting his anger. He's fighting these things, and whenever it comes to it, you really get a sense that he doesn't want to be this. He doesn't want to be that anymore, and so Sam appealing to his humanity fit the narrative of the story. In addition, when Black Widow is trying to calm down Bruce Banner's Hulk, she uses her words. There's jokes about the sun's getting real low, big guy, that kind of thing. Why is this any different? I actually thought it was better done than that. It wasn't just some magical phrase that happens to work. It was Sam appealing to this character, this person that he's gotten to know, and he spends a lot of time throughout the movie trying to appeal to Thunderbolt's humanity and trying to appeal to him as a president to do the right thing and not fall back into some of his old behaviors. And we even get some Sokovia Accord conversations in there with regard to Civil War. And so I really thought they did a good job of weaving all those different things together. I thought the addition of Samuel Stearns as the leader was an amazing callback, not only to pair it with Thunderbolt Ross, but an amazing callback to tie up a loose end that we saw in The Incredible Hulk. I thought Samuel Stearns being the leader in terms of Tim Blake Nelson's desire to make the character more natural and not all CGI. I mean, if you look at the comic book, it's this big, bulbous-headed, totally greened out guy to kind of pair off against the Hulk. And I thought to give him some humanity and make him look that way, they honored that, and they also used kind of the green tint, which I think was less of a nod comic book wise and more of a nod towards he's got gamma radiation in his body, those kind of things. And so just a nod to where he came from. I thought using him as this computer mind like know-it-all, especially with regard to the end credit scene, which we'll talk about in a little bit, really made use of the character in a way that's going to position him, especially him being in prison, position him as somebody they can go back and talk to, somebody that might still be pulling strings inside of a jail cell, and he's always a threat. And so I thought that was a really interesting use of that character, somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings. The sleeper cell type things and the way they utilized Isaiah Bradley in that regard was really amazing. What I did love politically about this movie is that they did not go down some kind of Democrat, Republican, anti-Biden, anti-Trump all these kind of things. I liked that they kept it solely on Sam trying to navigate that as a person, trying to be the best person he could be, while being in this environment that he's clearly a fish out of water in. And yes, there's some references. You know, you could look at any of these characters and say, oh, that represents this, that represents that. But the idea that those weren't the things on display, particularly, I think it was particularly well articulated early on in the film when Isaiah Bradley becomes activated as a sleeper agent, and the police surround him in the park, and he tells Sam, I'm not going to go back to prison. I won't go back to prison. And there's this moment where you think he's either going to take his life and it's going to become some political issue, or a cop is going to shoot him and it's going to become some black on white racial issue in the movie. Was thoroughly impressed and amazed and appreciative that they did not do that. Not because it's not an issue, not because it's something that does not happen or because it's overused, but because it gave an opportunity for the story to go a lot more directions than to be overused as a political talking point as a movie. I thought Isaiah trusting Sam gave him another opportunity to be the Captain America that we want him to be someone who says, I'm going to fight for you, and we're going to do it within the confines of the law, even if we disagree with the law. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to try something else. And so to fight the fights that need fighting, those kind of things, and to know when to fight and how to fight and what kind of strength to use was important, because even though we all know that Isaiah was innocent, we all know that he was brainwashed and those kind of things. Nobody else knew that. And so in the world there, you had to create a realistic situation where, and I think it worked out well for Captain America, in that he was able to say, okay, I'm gonna trust this, I'm gonna do this, even though I don't trust it, even though I don't trust the world that I came from, because I was racially profiled, because I was kept in a jail cell, because I was tortured. This is not the same place, this is not the same people, and it gave them an opportunity to say, it's okay to be defined by your past, but not ruled by it. Maybe be a victim of your circumstances, but not controlled by it, that you can become something else, you can be something else, which I think was Sam Wilson's fight the whole time. It's like, I'm not Steve Rogers, I don't have to be Steve Rogers. I'm taking up this mantle for him, but I'm taking up this mantle because I want to. It made it his own, and I thought that was a really great side effect of this movie, and even for us in more of a kind of a meta sense, as an audience watching this movie, it gave us an opportunity to really look at this and say, you know, this is a different type of Captain America, and can we get behind him? And I know there's all kinds of, you know, hashtags, not my Captain America, and all these kinds of things out there, and we'll talk about that here in a minute too, but just from a movie standpoint, I really loved all those kind of things. The addition of the Serpent Society, as well as Ruth's character, who kind of looked like a Black Widow-esque fill-in, and she was even trained in the Red Room, all those kind of things. I would be interested to go back and watch Black Widow and see if maybe she's in there somewhere. I actually didn't know. She seems like a very young actress, and maybe she was too young when that came out to actually be somebody kind of in the background, but maybe she got freed from that. Would be an interesting storyline to go through, even if she wasn't in that movie. But to have these characters that mirror a lot of the stuff we see in Captain America 1, 2, and 3, I thought was a really nice nod and an homage. But everywhere that they mirror elements and beats from those movies, they always kind of divert just a little bit to things that fit Sam Wilson. Right down to Sam Wilson watching Joaquin being taken care of through a surgery window is directly from Civil War, and also directly from Captain America: Winter Soldier. Both scenes, one of them is Tony Stark looking through the window watching Rhodey being operated on, and Vision talks to him. There's one in Falcon and the Winter Soldier where Steve is watching Nick Fury being operated on, and Black Widow comes up to him. And I thought, even in the theater, we're gonna see Ruth pop up as his Black Widow person and have a conversation. And I thought it was a really awesome place for them to shoehorn to shoehorn in Bucky, because that was somebody that Sam had a conversation with. That was somebody that Sam had a relationship with, to get a little bit more Bucky's story to kind of take him off in his own direction, maybe some precursor for Thunderbolts, and then but still be an homage to the older movies and show some scenes that, oh, we're familiar with these things, and how Sam's story has a lot of the beats that Steve's did, but he's his own person and he's dealing with them in his own way. So that at the end he can stand up and say, I'm my own person and I've done this my own way. I thought it was a way for the movie to say there's always going to be evil, there's always going to be people to fight against, but you always have friends, you always have support, you always have a common goal, and how you go about that is what makes you that guy, right? So I thought those things were really great, and I liked all those different elements to it. Will we see any of those people later? I tend to think we'll probably see some Serpent Society people later on. That tends to be, I think that is Sam Wilson's Hydra character, and they also tease that as well. That the Sidewinder character there, played, amazingly by Giancarlo Esposito, says, when I get out of prison, when I break out of prison. He knows things that maybe Sam doesn't know yet, which make him even more dangerous. And so who he aligns himself with, what he does, I think would make for a really good movie, or even a Disney Plus show later on, if that's the direction they decide to go. So lots of things to talk about there. I really loved, let's get into the after credits scene here as we kind of wrap up before I kind of get on my soapbox. I really liked the end credit scene. I know some people don't like it and they think it's pointless. I thought it was great. I like that that the MCU and Kevin Feige are still rolling with this multiverse undercurrent. I know that it's not as big a deal as it would have been with Jonathan Majors' Kang character, although I still think there's possibilities where they could film a few scenes to wrap that up and not use him as broadly as they did before. I think there's some ways to do that, and I think they're going to take good care of it. But I like that they're still going forward with those things, and I like that the leader, being as brilliant as he is, was somebody that could actually kind of let them know and give them a warning. There are some things coming that you don't know about. And talking about the others, I think that the doppelgangers, the variants of all these different superheroes and what they mean and what they do and are they good and are they not, could really make for an awesome Avengers movie when you see these anti-versions of all of these heroes. That they could have gone any different direction. I think it's going to make for a really great movie if they do it well. And I think using Samuel Stearns and particularly bringing back Liv Tyler before that for her interaction with Thunderbolt, mirrored with the after credit scene of Sam talking to the leader, kind of showed like not only the irony of the fact that Thunderbolt used to keep all these people in here, and Sam was extending him a courtesy that he didn't get extended, further showing his Captain America-ness. But it also showed, Sam is going to go visit these guys, not as a taunting thing, not as a I beat you, look at me, but I think he sees the good in people. I think he wants to understand why, and also getting more information to find out, okay, what else don't I know? Really lend itself to his humanity. He really has nobody else to lean on, and so I think just knowing there's something coming is even more motivation for Sam to say, I need people that can help me. I need to put some people together. I cannot do this alone. And I think that undercurrent, especially with him without the super soldier serum, is going to really undergird a lot of his reasoning for saying, I need people that I can rely on more so than I need superheroes. I think this new iteration of the Avengers could be really interesting and really exciting, and I'm looking forward to wherever they go with these things. I'm not so tied to the old characters that I have to have these legacy characters or I'm going to be done with the MCU. That leads into my final rant, and I'm going to take a soapbox as we wrap up here, so if you're not into this, that's fine. Go ahead and leave me a like and move on. However, we need to talk about all of the MCU hate again. This movie was getting panned well before a trailer even came out for it, well before we even knew anything about it. There's extra shoots. They've gone back for reshoots. They're rewriting this. They've shuttled these characters. They've done that. I would encourage you to not hate a movie until you've seen it. It's like your wife being pregnant and she gets indigestion because the baby's kicking on her stomach, and you decide that the baby is evil because it's hurting your wife. You haven't even met the baby yet. It can't talk. It's not even out of the womb, and you've already decided that it's evil and wrong. And let's put it up for adoption. Wait until the movie comes out to see what you think. And if you don't like it, sure, go online and say why you don't like it. That's totally fine. People do that every day. But 30-something movies in, which should speak for itself at this point. It's not just, well, Disney's made of money so they can just keep making movies. If they are the corporate machine that you think they are, and they're the evil corporation that some people want them to be, then they're going to ditch things if they just think they can't make money off of it. Plain and simple. They're not going to keep something going. Bottom line, these movies make money. People enjoy them. Marvel is going someplace with these, and they have a plan, because if they didn't, the Bob Igers and the other, the Pearl Mutters and all these other people of the world would definitely shudder what they're doing to say, you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going, you're just throwing things around. I would submit DC and the DCEU before James Gunn took it over. Same thing's going on. People are angry as all get out, and they haven't even seen the movie yet. It's going to be different. If you want to like the other stuff, like the other stuff. You want to like the Zack Snyder multiverse, like the Zack Snyder movies. It's not coming back. Buy all the DVDs and watch them over and over on a loop in your house. It's over. Move on to the next thing. Likewise with the Marvel Universe. I loved Tony Stark. I love Steve Rogers. They may be able to pop up in different ways as variants, but if you're telling a big story like this and they're doing something that they've never done before, it is part of what it is. By the simple fact that this universe keeps going and actors get old and die, it's going to happen. And so the Marvel Universe, particularly in the comics, is so broad and vast, and so many different things have been done that they can pull from all these different things. And I personally love being able to go to the movies and get a full story and get something that might be a little bigger, but get these smaller stories and get more detail in things on Disney Plus, like Agatha All Along, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Moon Knight, all these different characters, even She-Hulk. I liked it for what it was. Is it the best thing that Marvel's done? No. Is it different and fun and interesting to watch? Yeah. Maybe it wasn't interesting to you. All of those things are subjective. But to go on and continually bash simply for bashing purposes, if you're doing it for clicks, okay, you're making your money. Good job. But if you don't enjoy the movies and you really hate it, stop going. And arguing with people who do love it and do enjoy it is, to me, you're just spreading hate in the world for no reason. Like, I'm going to come on here, and I'm giving you a warning now. I'm going to come on here, and no matter what, I am going to love the Daredevil series. Not only because I'm a huge Daredevil fan, but because I'm seeing one of my favorite characters on the screen. I like a lot of the Ben Affleck pieces of the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. There's some things I didn't like. Is it the best movie ever? No. Could it have been better? Absolutely. But I got to see my favorite character on the big screen, and so it was fun. If you enjoy it, enjoy it. I think Marvel put these movies together early on and didn't really know where they were going, didn't really know if they'd have the funding, and then they suddenly did, and they could make the Avengers and make all these things, and they could piece things together in a way that looks like they had a plan all along. This time, they legitimately have a plan all along from Endgame moving forward. And I know you don't like it, but all these different characters and these different stories, you're getting some diversity. You're getting to see different characters and explore different areas of the world because people love these movies and because it made enough money that you wouldn't get to do if it was solely based off of, let's just make what's going to make money. Okay? There's all kinds of reasons why they can make the movies that they're making and do the things that they're doing and add the characters that they're adding. And you may not like them, and that's okay. But a lot of people do. And they're fun and they're interesting. And, to say that everything is dead, there's plenty of videos out there that say, oh, the MCU's back. Oh, we fell off. The MCU's back. Oh, we fell off. You got to remember, since Endgame, we've had We've had Moon Knight series. We've had Loki season 2. We've had Spider-Man No Way Home, Wakanda Forever, Shang-Chi. I would even put Brave New World in this category as well. And there's some that were so different that some people didn't like them. Multiverse of Madness or Quantum Mania. But I even enjoyed those movies because they were different and they were fun and they explored some things that haven't really been explored yet. And there are some really awesome moments in both of those movies that I think are a whole lot of fun and they're really great. And nowhere near on the lower tier level of something like Thor: The Dark World, which has been universally panned forever. Iron Man 3 has been universally panned, and the more that I watch it, the more I enjoy it. Age of Ultron, same way. The more I watch that movie, the more I catch things that I didn't catch before that are written in a way that actually makes sense, that there are less plot holes than everybody thinks. And I think it's the same thing with this stuff, and I think whenever the Avengers movies come around and they actually pull all of these things together, you're going to see that they had a plan or that they have adjusted their plan in a way that makes sense. And it's still going to be as exciting and as interesting, even though it may not be what you hoped for back here or you wanted over here. I think I do trust Marvel to deliver on not just excitement and entertainment, but fan service too, because the people that they employ genuinely care about the characters and the stories that they're telling. And so I'm just saying, peace, guys. Like, let's have fun with this. Let's enjoy it. I'm sure there would be, the world would be a lot better place with a lot more joy in it. And these movies are something that bring joy to people. So why would you want to squash that? Why would you want to crap on that? That's all I got to say. I'm curious what you guys think about the movie, whether you liked it, what you did like, what you didn't like. What did I miss? What did we not talk about? Let me know in the comments below. Share this thing all across the multiverse, and please continue to share our videos. Our viewership is growing every day, and I really enjoy doing this and enjoy being a part of it and enjoy all things Marvel. I hope you do too. And as always, guys, when the next one drops, we'll catch you right back here. Later.